Transfers and permits allow player movements between clubs and associations in PlayHQ whilst ensuring the appropriate approvals are in place from the player's original club. A transfer means a player will completely move clubs and no longer play for their previous club. A permit allows a player to play for an additional club for a selected amount of time. First, ensure your transfer and permit preference settings are correct. You can allow for both transfers and permits to either be requested by participants, club admins, or both. Participant-requested transfers and permits will allow the participant to submit the request when registering. Based on the registration history of the participant, PlayHQ will know whether they require a transfer or permit, and during the registration process, the relevant options will be presented. This differs to a club-initiated transfer or permit, which is submitted by a club administrator on behalf of the participant. Transfers and permits requested by both players and clubs need to follow the same approval process. Once you've completed these settings, select Update and Save, and we can move on to the notification settings. You can enter different email addresses to receive notifications each time a transfer and permit is submitted. You can turn these on and off at different points throughout the season. The last setting to check is the auto approval settings. As an association administrator, you will be required to approve transfers or permits that involve your association. This process can be automated by turning on certain auto approvals. This means that transfers or permits that meet the criteria will automatically be approved by your organisation and then continue through the approval process. You can toggle on or off the different auto approval options. Each has an explanation of which type of transfer or permit would automatically be approved based on the setting. For example, you may be happy for inbound transfers to proceed without approval. We will now look at what occurs during a participant-requested transfer or permit, noting that this will only appear if you have turned on participant-requested transfers or permits. If this setting is not on at this point, the participant would be presented with a message stating they need to request a transfer or permit from their club and will not be able to proceed with their registration. Once the participant selects Get Started, they will have a request to play appear. They select if they would like to request a transfer or season permit. If season permit is selected, it will be applied for the full duration of the season. Once the participant selects the appropriate option, the approval flow will start. We will now go through the process to submit a club admin requested transfer or permit. We will navigate to a club so you can see the process. However, as an association admin, there is nothing you need to do to initiate a transfer or permit. The club admin will navigate to transfers and permits. Similar to association admins, club admins can set auto approvals and notifications for transfers and permits. Clubs do not have the ability to set if player or club transfer and permit requests are on or off. This is set at the association level. To request a new transfer or season permit, the club admin will select between transfers and permits along the top. This video demonstrates a new season permit request, but the process for transfers is very similar. The club admin will enter the organisation and competition and season they are requesting the season permit for. For club-initiated season permits, the club admin will need to enter the date range they would like the season permit to be valid. Outside of these dates, players will not be able to be selected in teams where the season permit is applied. They can enter the player's details who they wish to season permit and finally review the details before selecting Submit New Season Permit Request. Both the transfer and permit we have submitted will now go through their relevant approval flows. If we go back to the association view, we can see that the transfer and permit we submitted has a status of upcoming. This means there are other organisations in the approval flow who need to approve the transfer or permit before the association. If we click on the transfer or permit, we can see exactly where the request sits. Once the relevant organisations have approved the request, the status will change to Action Now. If required, you can filter to only view transfers or permits at a certain stage. By clicking View, we will now be able to approve or decline the transfer or permit request. Again, the process for transfers and permits is the same. Click Approve along the top left and select Done to return back to the main screen. In this transfer, we can see that there are more organisations required to approve after us. If you decline a transfer or permit, you will need to submit a reason as to why. Once all organisations involved in the transfer or permit have completed the relevant approvals, the player will be notified of the outcome and complete their registration if required. Once complete, they will be available for team selection. If the player completed a transfer, any active registrations at their previous club will be cancelled.